live to you from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Prime Time studio. Now, today marked President Droupadi Murmu's first address to both houses after the new government formation, and a reference to Indira Gandhi imposed emergency, that too in her first address, has exposed the deep fault lines, those between the Modi government and the Congress party, and one that will likely make parliament proceedings stormy in the coming days. The president's condemnation of the emergency comes after Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar and BJP President and Union Health Minister JP Nadda have taken turns to condemn the emergency, all of this since June 24th. Now, the Sengal too found its prominence in Parliament today, this amid the ongoing political controversy ignited by Samajwadi Party MP R.K. Chaudhary's recent comments calling it a symbol of monarchy or Raja Ka Danda. In fact, Chaudhary has demanded that the Sengal be replaced by a replica of the Constitution. Interestingly, the condemnation of emergency has again exposed the opposition unity, with the SP, DMK and TMC supporting the criticism of emergency as the darkest chapter in Indian history. But it is the Sengal which has arrived as a point of convergence for the India alliance that has labelled the Sengal as anti-constitutional. But is that enough for an opposition striving to make a mark with a new numerical strength in the parliament? Brings us to the big question on brass tacks tonight. Emergency storm in parliament. Has NDA now cornered the Indie Bloc?
जून 1975 को लागू हुआ आपातकाल संविधान पर सीधे हमले का सबसे बड़ा और काला अध्याय था.
Imposition of emergency was the biggest and darkest chapter of direct attack on the Constitution.
That is clearly a political reference. It could have been avoided.
I don't think that this is necessarily the right time to be discussing something that happened 49 years ago.
जिस तरह से तानाशाही चल रही है उसकी जिम्मेदार राष्ट्रपति महोदया भी है. राष्ट्रपति जी ने सरकार को रोकना चाहिए.
Distorted facts have been given to the president, and naturally presidents have relied on that.
देखिए, भारत के संविधान का एक काला अध्याय है, भारतीय डेमोक्रेसी का एक काला अध्याय है और कांग्रेस इससे कभी दूर नहीं भाग सकती.
Let me now introduce our esteemed panelists tonight. I'm joined in by Mr. Tom Vadakkan, who's the spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. Anshul Avajit, who's the national spokesperson of the Congress Party, Mr. Pradeep Bhati, who's the spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, and Mr. Rajgopalan, who's a renowned senior journalist. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in. Mr. Vadakkan, if I could begin with you, the big charge coming in from the critics of the BJP today is that what we are seeing as far as this consistent revocation of as far as the emergency is concerned, the reason behind it is that you are only trying to compensate for the lack of numbers and also to counter the allegation that was hurled by the opposition that the BJP is anti-constitution, and that if it's going to be a charso par for your party and of course the NDA, you're only going to subvert the constitution.
Well, holding the Constitution and getting photo opportunities with the Constitution copy, have you read it really? The whole question is, don't use the Constitution as a marketing device, as protector of the Constitution. The reality is the same very hand that holds the Constitution tore the ordinance of his own government. You talk about protecting the Constitution. And the emergency era is something not to be forgotten by every political person, not just political person, but every citizen of India. We had this for 21 months, and what was happening? The kind of situation, the fundamental rights were, suspended. People were put in jails. All political leaders, about 9,000 was in jail. 140,000 people were put in jail. The DMs were signing warrants without even reading the content. Schools, let me repeat this, schools and colleges, the entire classroom was arrested. Now, can you believe it? And what sterilization? What a campaign that Sanjay Gandhi ran. He was nothing to do with the government. He was an extra constitutional authority. Sterilization of whom? Muslims. Majority of them. Turkman Gate incidents are recorded history. And what happened? They are the same people that asked for the Muslim votes. Now, this is a darkest chapter. Journalists were arrested. Newspapers carried blank front pages. The Indian Express power break cover, they were disconnected. And the kind of situation this country saw should be shown to the public. Why are they so worried? If they are the so-called protectors of the Constitution.
All right.
Has the Prime Minister ever used 356? How many amendments have he made? Compare it with the Congress amendments. And what kind of amendment? The preamble was not even spared.
Right. Mr. Badakan, thank you for reiterating all those points that have been made in President Murmu's speech today, in Speaker Om Birla's speech yesterday. We've also heard the Prime Minister, in fact, invoke the emergency. Anshul, that's why I'd like to bring you in. You know, one thing that the invocation of emergency has done successfully and very skillfully is that it has, in fact, exposed the fault lines within the NDA alliance. Because remember, it was a very heartwarming gesture coming in from the DMK, the Samajwadi Party and the TMC when they openly criticized by their own gestures as far as emergency was concerned.
No, Akanksha, there's no problem about debates and discussions on the emergency. It's in the annals of history. It's all well recorded. In fact, there should be more. I mean, I know a thing or two about history. I think that the discourse, the academic discourse on the emergency is pretty scant. The theoretical work done on the emergency is pretty scant. Bring it on. It's perfectly fine. That is not the problem.
That is my question,
I think
Anshul. Why limit it to just a discussion? I'm going to make a small interjection. Please allow me that.
Let me just complete my
The reason why we are discussing it is because there was not the kind of condemnation which was expected from a Congress party that came. There was a protest, in fact, lodged. Why was Congress protesting against the darkest chapters in the annals of Indian history then?
I'll tell you exactly why. The problem with the emergency is not the emergency or the fact that it shouldn't be discussed. History itself is very unsparing. If nobody else discusses, it's there in history, it's very well recorded, it's been mentioned, we've talked about it, nobody's ever shied away from any discussion. In fact, the emergency today reminds us, serves to rather that how our democracy needs to be protected, it needs to be nurtured, it needs to be made more secure, and no better time than now for it to have done so, the times we are seeing at the moment, right? The invocation of the references to emergency are a validation of the excesses of the BJP itself. There is no other reason. Look, the problem is, Akanksha, it's not about the mentioning of the emergency. I'll tell you what the problem is. Who said it, where they said it, what motivated them, and the reasons why it was said. That is the problem. The problem is that it was deeply unfortunate, and I have the highest respect for the chair of the speaker. I'll continue to have it, but the political manner in which this government has used positions to amplify and target the position, that is the problem, the manner it was said. In fact, the entire session of the inaugural Lok Sabha, the BJP has cleared the pitch. They've used it as a place to highlight the emergency and not reach out for the opposition to discuss matters which are relevant today in society. Matters such as NEET, we want to discuss Manipur, we want to discuss unemployment, we want to discuss price rise.
No, but as far as NEET is concerned, I'm sure you're very much aware that that is also going to be part of the parliament discussion, if not being given a whole soul standalone discussion. But that's something that...
How was this a part of the parliament discussion, Akanksha, when the parliamentary affairs minister laid out clearly what was in the agenda and what was the need for an impartial who never indulges in political talk to go there? It's deeply regrettable that that has happened. Nobody has a problem against emergency.
All right.
I mean, we got a history lesson right now. Please have it again and again. You should have more mature discussions on it. You should have more theoretical work on it. Why shouldn't there be a problem? It's absolutely ridiculous that one is shying away. It is the manner it was said, where it was said, and by whom it was said.
No, and I think more than the manner, it is also about not touching on the more burgeoning issues, and that is a question question I would like to take from Mr. Tom Vadakkan as well. But in fact, I also appreciate the patience of the other two gentlemen, Mr. Rajgopalan and also Mr. Bhati. Mr. Bhati, first of all, I'd like to know the reasons behind why the Samajwadi Party, in fact, chose to condemn the emergency yesterday. We are very well aware of the efforts that have gone in by Netaji as well. But why did you choose to take a stand yesterday?
Thank you and good evening. We as a party, because you are asking this question to the party whose founder and our ideal was jailed for 19 months. I'm talking about Honorable late Shri Mulayam Singh Yadav ji. How can we justify the emergency as a constitutional and democratic act? But in the same length, if I may ask, while BJP is forming government in Kashmir with PDP, were they supporting two-nation theory? So as a wise man say, do not dwell in past. The past is behind. Learn from it. And future is ahead. Prepare for it. An undeclared emergency in the country. It's a core, tangible, real issue as on today. Let's discuss that and let's prepare for it. So BJP is well aware what the voters of this great nation has replied, that in a democracy there is no place for ek akela sab pe bhari. Is always we, and we the people of UP has cut them into the half in Uttar Pradesh and followed the Honorable Akhilesh Yadavji's dream of UP the development and of SP government, and denied this mutton mujra and Mangal Sut politics. So the politics in Uttar Pradesh or in India will go by what we are, the issues which we have raised in these elections. It's about the employment, it's about the inflation, it's about the marginal class being marginalized, how the rich people are becoming rich. It's about the farmers, it's about the women, it's about the 80 crore people not getting are getting free ration. They are come down to that situation that there is a huge unemployment and so much of garibi in this country. So that Prime Minister has to reply. So don't divert and distract the issues, the core issues.
Nobody is diverting and distracting, but it also begs the question.
Do that.
Mr. Bhati, it also begs the question, what is the stand of the India Alliance, considering Mehbooba Mufti is very much part of the alliance now? Do you support the two-nation theory by supporting her?
Okay, Akansha, first thing is that it's not India Alliance, it's India Alliance. So I'll request you with a humble request.
India Alliance.
If you are saying India, it's India Alliance, right?
How is it India Alliance? If you go by the full form of it, it really doesn't make sense. But let's, touch upon the meaty aspect of the discussion.
Because it's what my name is, your name is Akansha. I will not misname it.
So then you'd rather call it India Bloc.
Come to the point. Let's come to the point. The point you have raised about, you haven't heard my second line. I said don't dwell in the past. So when we are talking about the past, we are talking about the emergency in 1975. So at that time, you are saying we were not in the government or we were not supporting the Congress party. As on today, if we go by this logic, I am talking about the logic that we are putting in, that time we have opposed that. So at the same time, we were supporting this on that issue also. So with that logic, I have explained you that if you go by that logic,
Mr. Rajgopalan, thank you for waiting. No, I'm running short of time. Please respect the other gentleman also who's been very patiently awaiting his turn. I will come to you, Mr. Bhati. It's not the last time that you're being allowed to speak. There are going to be more points that you would be expected to make. Mr. Rajgopalan, of course, you heard a very valid point being made by Anshul over there when he's talking about how, there's also dilution of more burgeoning issues. He's also alluded to the issue of NEET. We've seen how that's also being now used as a major charge coming in from the opposition. The government has been placed on a back foot, needless to say. How do you see the opposition versus the NDA now moving forward in a very new looking house, which in fact was being touted as the beginning of a new reality, considering we have a leader of opposition after a decade, but it doesn't seem much is going to change.
There won't be, you said it, Akansha, there won't be any change because Congress has tested the 99 as if they got 100 out of 99 marks. 543 out of 99. Apart from that, Mr. Modi has shown the mirror to Congress. You brandished a constitution book and throughout the country you took that Today Modi gave a reply. 3 days, Akansha, 3 developments. The speaker election, India alliance is divided. And moreover, Rahul Gandhi apologized to Mamata Banerjee for unilaterally declaring Suresh as the speaker of candidate of the India alliance. But it is a Congress alliance. Second thing, why no decision on the speaker? He should have consulted everyone. So the opposition is split. Second thing, on the point of emergency, Prime Minister turned the table against the opposition, saying that just now you heard Samajwadi Party spokesperson, Netaji was arrested. And moreover, my father was arrested. As a journalist, my father was taken into custody during emergency for writing one letter about Indira Gandhi. So therefore, emergency access, my family is a victim of it. And second thing, unnecessarily, to camouflage it, the Samajwadi Party MP created a furore about the Sengal. Sengal in every district of Tamil Nadu, Akansha, I am telling you, this miniature piece of Sengal was selling more than 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs like that. I am going to show it to you this type of Sengal, which is being, is available everywhere. Sengal is a Tamil pride. Why should Samajwadi Party go against Tamil pride? And moreover, India alliance is against South Indians. And more though Mr. Rahul Gandhi might have been elected from Wayanad, but he also spoke about South-North divide. When Sengal was given the highest position, why should this India alliance subject to that? Second thing, now the new parliament, my understanding is the relationship between the opposition and the government has gone for 6 years. There won't be any meeting point. And moreover, unless Mr. Rahul Gandhi adopts a conciliatory approach, he is not a leader of opposition in the sense for the NDA and ND Bloc. He is a leader of opposition from the Congress parties. Therefore, Mr. Akhilesh Yadav will have a different tone. Mr. T.R. Balu of DMK will have a different tone. And moreover, Mamata Banerjee will have a different tone. Why Madam Mamata Banerjee was to get angry and why the speaker election, the Congress did not have the courage to ask for the division. The BJP would have got 310, madam. I am telling you.
All right. All right, Anshul, I'd like to bring you in on the issue of the Sengal because I'm told that the Samajwadi Party would like to keep themselves away from the entire discussion as far as the Sengal is concerned. You know, the same logic, in fact, could be applied to the opposition when it comes to the Sengal. The Prime Minister and the BJP have made it very clear that this is a symbol of India's civilization. It is also a symbol of India's cultural history, not to forget the fact that this is a symbol of dharma, of righteousness. Then why attack this, the symbol like Sengal even if it has been installed in the parliament? I mean, if it is about invoking emergency, then, you know, the same logic can also be applied to, in fact, attacking the symbol of Sengal.
No, nobody's attacking anything or nobody's hurting anyone's pride. Look, Akanksha, when it comes to historical memory and ritualism and what we should remember...
No, but Mr. Chaudhary today made it amply clear that he wants the Sengal replaced by, you know, a constitution replica.
Well, he's written a letter. He's written a letter to the Honourable Speaker, and he's an honourable member of Parliament. His concerns need to be addressed. I'm talking about the larger question of historical memory and what needs to be continued and what doesn't. When you know, that is the argument for emergency as well. We should not forget. I mean, everyone keeps saying that. Well, we should not forget what has been expunged from the NCERT textbooks as well. The reimagining of our history has been done blatantly by this government time and again. That's why you're saying the invocation of emergency is only to justify their own excesses, whether it's curbing civil liberties or the rewriting of history.
But why shouldn't you view the Sengal as a mark of pride as far as history is concerned? You're talking about historical context, then the Sengal should be a matter of pride.
I'm talking about historical memory and the omission of historical memory and what we should remember and continue with. The BJP has done its utmost. Maulana Azad's name has been omitted from the NCERT textbooks of class 11. I say this because he was the first education minister. God knows if he had been the education minister now, NEET would never have happened. I'm talking about Dalit writers not being included in courses because they have written against atrocities. There have been a number of NCERT omissions. You've got to look at them. This reimagining and selective memory is what is this BJP is all about. Not to talk about the draconian manner in which the last 10 years have been run. from the economic violence of demonetization to the mismanagement of COVID to the way 150 MPs were expelled to bills not going in select committees, to the way the voice of the opposition was scuttled, to curbing of civil liberties, to the invasion of privacy, to a 22-year-old environmental activist being thrown because of a toolkit. Can you imagine the way this government has behaved, and they have the moral right to speak about anything else?
You know, I'm going to take that. I'm going to raise that with Tom Vadakkan in just a bit. Before that, I'm also going to ask you, how is it justified when AIADMK members are removed from the House, in fact suspended for an entire session? Where does freedom of speech then go? Does it take a hike in the Tamil Nadu Assembly?
No, nobody's justifying. This is the national. Nobody's justifying anything. You can't make one argument to justify another. We are making broader points about, this is supposed to be a broad point about the invocation
and that is why I'm
emergency,
saying that if we want a level playing field,
and why
we have to endorse the largesse we expect from the others, especially at the Treasury benches.
It doesn't justify what has happened. You can't use examples to justify what has already happened.
No,
in
I'm
this
not
last 10
justifying.
years.
And that is why I'd like to bring in Mr. Vadakkan. Mr. Vadakkan, you heard everything that Anshul has said. In fact, you know, it's being already called undeclared emergency. Mr. Jairam Ramesh has said that what's been happening ever since 2014 up till 2024 and is expected to happen in Modi 3.0 also is unconstitutional.
Akamsha, I've heard him with patience, Anshul. He talked about historical memory. So let me shake his memory and remind him that the former Union Minister Jagdeep Dhankhar, who was claimed, who was
I knew you'd get a family into it because that is his personal attack. He's Mr. Vadakkan has done it before. No, you've done it before. You forget your own. Hang on a minute. You've forgotten your own time in the Congress party. When nobody needs to be reminded of my family history. They're making a larger personal point.
Let him.
No, hang on a minute.
I want to hear him.
No, hang on a minute. Mr. Vadakkan has time and again gone down to personal sort of examples of proving his non-existent point. He gave a memory recent life now. I don't know what
Anshul, let him complete his point. I don't think he means any offense. Let him complete. I let you make a point.
Why should he be allowed? No, hang on a minute.
He's not being allowed.
Why should he be allowed? No, I can do whatever I want.
Mr. Vadakkan, please do not make any personal
remarks. Do not get to the point, Mr. Vadakkan.
If you
get to the point, Mr. Vadakkan, if you need to make it. Don't forget that you were a part of the same Congress party and for God knows what reasons you left it.
No, why are you so worried?
You've done it before.
No, but let's not get personal over here. Gentlemen, let's not get personal.
I'm warning you, you've done it before. Please don't do it again.
Anshul, calm down. Mr. Vadakkan, if that is becoming a touchy issue, let's move beyond.
No, is bringing my family history into it a part of the debate? Come
on. Mr. Vadakkan, please, let's talk about the issues at hand.
I won't have it.
Let's talk about the issues at hand.
Talk about the issues. Talk about NEET. Talk about Manipur. Talk about unemployment.
You know, those are the voices that are coming in from the opposition.
A Dalit leader who was made a Bakri during the emergency.
Just get on with it, man.
Let's talk about all those issues that the opposition is talking about.
Get on with it. Get to the debate.
When Mr. Birla was appointed as a speaker, you had an appeal coming in from a Rahul Gandhi. He said that they want the opposition to be heard. So, Mr. Vadakkan, let's focus on the opposition issues. They've raised the issue of Manipur. They've raised the NEET examination issue. They've raised unemployment. Let's have it from the BJP. Mr. Vadakkan.
Yeah, what is the question?
I'm talking about, let's talk about issues at hand, the current issues, which is what is being labelled as undeclared emergency by the opposition, especially the Congress party.
Give me one example of undeclared emergency. 356 hasn't been declared. People on bail, are they in jail? I mean, people who have been prosecuted are those judiciary has prosecuted. There is Rahul Gandhi, whose bail is pending. Sonia Gandhi, bail pending. If this was emergency, they would be in jail. And today they come and criticize. Democratic processes are on. What is undeclared emergency? I dare ask them. What are they talking about? Judiciary is taking their position. The institutions are working against corruption. You're disturbed because if you're corrupt, then you will get arrested. If you're not, nobody will go after you, and your fundamental rights are intact. The journalists are free to report. Political leaders are not in jail. That was emergency, and this is not. When you tag it with undeclared emergency, you're making a marketing statement trying to cover up your draconian emergency that you brought about for how many months? Almost
all right.
14, 15
Mr.
months.
Rajgopalan wants to make a point. Sir, you said that your father was jailed during emergency. Please help generations of today understand the sharp contrast between the emergency back then and the undeclared emergency of today.
The government has been more democratic. Otherwise, Mr. Anshul, who is Congress spokesman, cannot speak about this. My father was arrested because he wrote an article in Chanakyan, a Tamil daily weekly magazine which he was editing against the Congress government. So therefore, police hounded my father out. Third day, they released him without any FIR or anything. That was there. And moreover, my father was very close to Mr. Jagaprakash Narayan. When he came to Chennai, he stayed at G.C.K. Reddy and E.V. Easwaran's house. I was very young boy at that time. We cried before the police, but he was dragged. Apart from that, I would like to ask only simple question to the Congress spokesperson. Why did not Congress get the division when the Suresh was proposed as a speaker? And Congress made Suresh
right.
That's
a very valid question. Anshul, there's much chatter about it as well. The TMC raised it itself on Tuesday. They said that we were not consulted. This when they in fact placed the BJP in Bengal on the back foot. They deserved a say. In fact, all parties in the alliance deserve a say. Why did that in fact decision become so unilateral as far as Congress is concerned?
The relationship between the alliance partners, between the Mahagathbandhan is strong and remains so. That is not the issue. The issue is, and first of all, let me clear the air about the emergency. I said right at the outset, let there be a debate. Who's talking, who's disallowing a debate on the emergency? Go into the nuances of it. I'm all for it. I said it, I made it clear right in the beginning. But this is not the time at the particular moment as using it some kind of tool to clear the pitch and not allow the smooth functioning of the House. That is the problem. How is that related to the NEET exam? How is it related to Manipur? How is it related to the incursion of China in Indian territory? How is it related to unemployment? How is it related to price rise?
Okay, but
how
why
is it
was
related
the
to the
TMC
economy
not
which has been
consulted
wrecked by
when
this government?
nominating Mr. Suresh's name for the post of the Speaker?
No, look, first of all, we propose that there should be a speaker, a deputy speaker, which is mandated in the constitution, right? That the government, instead of building a consensus and reaching out and establishing trust, right in the beginning, they put a spanner in the works. In the inaugural session of the Lok Sabha, God knows what this is foreshadowing. I only hate to think what's going to happen next, because they made their intentions very, very clear. Forget about what's happening between us, right? That is not the issue here. There are larger national issues which need to be discussed here. The BJP is making sure, because it's on the back foot so much, because the NEET is so corrupted, because the testing agency is so rotten, because the system they have devised over the years have fallen and have been undermined and subverted so much, they don't want to discuss about it. The way civil liberties have been curbed and there is invasion of privacy and bills have been passed without consensus, discussion and debate. Look, 20% of the bills have only gone to the standing committee, less than 20%. You can imagine the kind of rhetoric, and every time the Prime Minister comes before a session, he says, Samvidhan ki garima and all. It's all empty, hollow words. They don't mean a thing. In fact, they mean precisely the opposite. That is our point. Discuss issues. You come here to discuss issues. Yes, if you want to have a historical memory, then make it comprehensive.
All right.
Speak about the emergency.
Who's
saying don't?
Let me come to
but
Mr.
there is a time
Mr.
and place.
Everybody is talking about how the 18th Lok Sabha session could have been a good opportunity for the NDA to bridge the gap between the opposition and, of course, the Treasury bench. Why has that not really translated in the first session itself? And we have a new looking house. Let's pave the way forward for more discussions. And that should have started with a more fair and judicious vote for the post of the Speaker. Not to forget the news that's now come in that the Deputy Speaker position will also be held by the NDA. I know you will talk about convention versus constitution, but let's have a level playing field. What's the harm?
You certainly have to have a level playing field, and that is why Rajnath Singh ji spoke to whom? Their president. And he said, well, let's speak about the Speaker and let's have a consensus about it. But Mr. Kharge wanted a close, you buy one, get one free kind of situation. He said, well, we want the Deputy Speaker, then only we will talk about the Speaker. Now, if this is a gunpoint tie-up, it's not acceptable. And as to the question of convention, there have to be practitioners of convention. Karnataka, Telangana, Himachal Pradesh, who are the people who are holding Deputy Speaker's position? They are people from the same party, that is the Congress party. And today they're coming and preaching to us that, well, if you want to settle on the Speaker, you must tie up on the Deputy Speaker. We have the numbers. We made the first step of talking to them, trying to tie up a consensus, but they were in their own airs and they refused to join hands.
All right.
And
I'm running short of time. I'd like to end with Mr. Rajgopalan's thoughts. Mr. Rajgopalan, is in fact a bipartisan consensus even a possible idea right now? Is it seeming too idyllic?
With Rahul Gandhi's leadership as leader of opposition, there can't be any consensus because he has to come down to the level of leader of opposition. My understanding of Congress is totally different. My understanding of Rahul Gandhi is totally different. He should not have brandished the constitution when he took oath because, he wanted to imitate the Prime Minister. Apart from that, the Congress party is sidelined by the regional parties, especially DMK, Samajwadi Party, TMC. Therefore, Congress is fighting for its own existential, position in the India alliance.
All right, many thanks to you. And in fact, here's hoping that Modi 3.0 will be able to bury the kind of bitterness that has defined the opposition and, of course, the Treasury benches in the past 2 tenures. And here's hoping that India's parliament sees a clean slate. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in. And with that, it's time to slip into a quick break. Stay tuned to Brass Tacks because there's a lot more that we'll be discussing up next.
Weeks.
Yeah, I think it was a very special journey for each one of us. Grateful to have got the platform, especially hosting an event of such a large scale. We had prepared really well as a team leading to the 2-3 months before the tournament. And yeah, I'm really proud of the way everybody stepped up and everybody contributed in different moments. And it's a special achievement to reach the Super 8 when you're playing in the tournament for the first time. You've trained with limited resources. And yeah, it's a good landmark for sort of growth of the sport in the country now. So I sort of gave up the sport at professional level in 2015 when I decided to move to the US for my master's degree. Yeah, I never expected to sort of play cricket, let alone play professionally. When I came to college, saw a few players, like few students playing for fun, joined them in college. Then realized that they had formed a college cricket club and they used to play college tournaments. So just started playing for fun, like alongside my studies there, got a job in San Francisco, discovered club cricket on the weekends there. It was
Welcome back. You're watching Brass Tacks with me, Akanksha Swaroop, and we are coming live to you from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Prime Time studios. Now, today, several members of the National Students Union of India, or NSUI, barged into the head office of the National Testing Agency, or the NDA, in Delhi and locked it from inside in protest against the alleged irregularities in the NEET medical entrance examinations. With chains and locks in their hands, protesters were seen storming the NTA office located in Delhi's Okhla. Meanwhile, the Indian Youth Congress also held a demonstration near Jantar Mantar over the alleged rigging of the NEET UG exam. Notably enough, President Murmu also made a pointed reference to the alleged paper leaks and irregularities leading to cancellation of UGC NET, postponement of CSIR UGC NET and NEET PG, and some retests of NEET 2024 as well. She said that there would be a fair probe into such NEET and NET cases and that the guilty would be punished. Earlier in the day, the CBI made its first arrests in the NEET UG paper leak case, taking into custody 2 persons from Patna. But clearly, the recent controversy of entrance exams runs deeper than it seems. One that draws attention to the institutional troubles of today's education system more than the blot of emergency 50 years ago. That's the question we raised tonight on Brass Tacks. Today, as far as the ongoing NEET fury is concerned, have the systemic problems been unaddressed?
हाल ही में कुछ परीक्षाओं में हुई पेपर लीक की घटनाओं की निष्पक्ष जांच और दोषियों को कड़ी से कड़ी सजा दिलवाने के लिए मेरी सरकार प्रतिबद्ध है।
Very disappointing. I regret the fact that many of the issues affecting the common people were not heard. NEET was just mentioned at a very superficial level.
All right, let me introduce our esteemed panelists. Mr. Tom Vadakan, the spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, continues to stay with us. Mahima Singh, who's the spokesperson of the Congress Party, joins me today as well. And Zubin Malhotra, who's a career coach and renowned counsellor. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, and Mahima for joining in. Mahima, of course, the first direct question, what explains the rampage on the streets and the storming into the NTA office and the kind of barging in we've seen with NSUI students, in fact, carrying locks and chains?
जय हिंद। हम अमन चाहते हैं मगर जुल्म के खिलाफ अगर जंग लाजमी है तो फिर जंग ही सही। It was the sentiment, larger sentiment of the student fraternity that we saw was amplified today, and of course NSUI sort of gave it a face today. But the question today, Akanksha, is at the floor of the House, what we saw. You see the Prime Minister, who is the head of the government technically, addressed the parliament. He has been speaking otherwise also. We have not heard the word NEET from him. We are not hearing any pariksha pe charcha now. But the President of India, who is the head of the state, who is supposed to actually safeguard the Constitution of India and the rights and duties vested in the very sacred document, she spoke like a spokesman of the government on the floor of the House today, which was quite shocking actually. So the questions remain unanswered, and the questions are manifold, Akanksha. The questions are that why is there an array of BJP leaders, from Anuradha Yadav to Shekhar Yadav to the NDA partner legislator from UP, Bedi Ram, mired in this NEET controversy? Why is the government not uttering a word on it? You see, we are also asking, why was there such a delay in legislating against the paper leaks? There were 70 paper leaks over the last 7 years. The government not only did not bring about a legislation, Then the education minister in his last press conference lied before the country when he said the law has been notified, because the law that has gotten the assent, which was already delayed in being brought about, which got the assent in February 2024, was only notified 2 days after his press conference. But in the press conference, we saw the education minister say that the law has been notified. There was such a brazen delay in acting against the NTA chief.
All right.
And also, Akanksha, what we are seeing now, even after that NEET PG exam gets postponed, the NEET website was hacked till the 18th of June. What steps did the government take to actually prevent it, or to, they boast their claims, false claims about digital India. So plenty of questions.
All right.
I have not even
You've
named half
raised
of
those
them right
questions.
now.
You've raised many of the pertinent questions. Mr. Vadakkan, 4 exams cancelled in 10 days. There's a lot of talk about flip-flops. Yes, the assurances have come in from the government. The CBI has been handed over. The investigation arrests have been made today in Bihar. We are seeing that there's also a commission which has been set up. But is this too little too late?
Akansha, let me give you a broader canvas on this. This government, many governments have held union public service examinations, the civil service examination. Has there been any complaint? The other exams that are held by the government of India under the UPSC, there's been never a complaint. And you will be surprised that the INA exams, which are exclusively for AIMS, PGI Chandigarh, Sri Chitra Trivandrum, JEPMER Pondicherry, these are conducted exclusively by AIMS for PG. Never a problem. Yes, there is a problem with the NEET, I accept. A CBI inquiry has been ordered. We will get to the bottom of it. Heads will roll.
And hopefully there'll be a discussion in the parliament as well.
Yes, there will be. We never run away from discussions. When the discussion comes, we only hope and pray that Rahul Gandhi stays in the house to answer questions that may be raised. We hope and pray that as the LOP, he will play that part instead of, burning issues that they burn and they run. The reality must be faced. There's a problem. And the problem is not just for the Bharatiya Janata Party, it's for the country. These are about doctors. So we need to get to the bottom of it. A CBI inquiry, arrests must be made, and that those arresters must be taught a lesson that they cannot indulge in it. And who are playing the games? These are people, Akamsha, let me tell you something. I have seen this at close quarters. Before the NEET was introduced, children had to run to different states to get their forms for different medical colleges, and traveling across the country, and they miss out. Now, for example, Delhi University has an exam, medical college exam, and then you have a Bangalore Medical College exam.
All right.
Dates clash. Now, let me complete this. And a situation came where a normal human being or a student cannot compete for the majority of the medical colleges. So NEET was introduced. That was the objective. But if that has failed, we will examine ways and means to correct it. Instead of raising issues as if, it's all about, even the Congress has to be worried. The doctors that come and visit their patients in the Congress, if they are not qualified, there's trouble. So is it for us. So it is a human issue. We need to cooperate on this. Now, instead of fighting with each other, demonstrating outside the education minister, he needs time. That the whole process is being re-evaluated. The chief of NTA has been removed. Laws have just come into place. Now, what are we talking about?
Right,
this is about the country.
Zubin is very patiently.
Brief interjection, Akanksha.
Okay, go ahead.
It is only the medical examinations, if you see, largely for which this NTA was created, these exams, because it was conducted by CBSE and respective state governments earlier, and it was successfully conducted. The failure of the BJP and the NDA government is that the education minister was already a failure in its first term. The BJP government, the NDA government has been creating more patients than doctors in this country. Why was the education minister repeated, why was
Mahima, it was the UPA regime which first attempted to implement it in 2013. How can you forget that? And as far as NEET is concerned, it was considered under the UPA regime first in 2010. So let's not just make it about the NDA.
Aadhaar was also considered under the UPA
In fact, the
regime,
Supreme
Akanksha.
Court had stayed the implementation in 2013 under the UPA regime. It got a clearance in 2016. So let's not wholly and solely blame the NDA. No, Mahima, I don't take that point. I agree with you where I have to agree. No.
Lack of policy,
I
capture
think
of institutions.
there's also
was the
introspection
intent
to
of the
be
NDA,
done
was the
as
intent
far
of
as
the BJP.
it should be a non-partisan issue right now, and which is why I'm going to bring in
Absolutely,
Zubin.
and the BJP should take ownership.
Where
There should be accountability.
the lapses run deeper than just the politics of this. Where are the lapses? Is it the standardization of schooling education? Not to forget the role that coaching institutes are playing at the moment. How does one in fact correct these larger institutional irregularities?
Akanksha, you raise a very fantastic point, and this is an entirely a systemic issue. But due regards to both the political party spokesperson, neither of them spoke about the 24 lakh students, aspirants of the NEET, and what they are going through, and the turmoil and the stress and the frustration of not knowing what is going to happen, or the sheer unfairness of what we have been seeing over the last 3 weeks and more. The issue stems from right from not having enough information at schools, parents, teachers, at medical degree being made a much larger than life value and prestige associated with it, and at the expense of other biological, medical, paramedical, health sciences related areas, which are often given brotherly treatment, to where coaching institutes hype this up, where they take out large ads celebrating the successes of students, which they rightly should if they've helped them. But all that this is creating is that it is a all or nothing. Further, procedural. For example, we have this exam conducted on one day, once a year. Such a crucial, critical exam in the life of a 17, 18, 19-year-old student. Why can it not be held multiple times a year? We are still in this day and age where these students have all studied through the COVID lockdown. They've all used now phones. I understand, yes, there is huge disparities in access, but why is there not a roadmap which says, okay, 2 years out, we are going to computerize this exam. We are going to provide the resources required.
Do you think that the problem is also centralization of such tests and public examination? Like in several other countries, we've seen how school performances are linked with admission to these colleges. Why can't that be implemented in India? Perhaps that's also one reason why Tamil Nadu's Rajan committee in fact found that startling evidence, which showed how students from the rural areas in Tamil Nadu couldn't make it, because you have such varied and diversified standards of education spanning across boards in all of India.
Absolutely. You've answered the question. When we have more than 24 boards and boards of education in the state, we've seen this in admissions to universities where just the board marks are taken, where there is inflation in a certain board. How do you equate it? Universities have tried to find and use different formula for using percentiles and rationalizing them. But when there is a selection for the future medical and health service practitioners of the country, you do need a common entrance exam. Obviously, the earlier system where every state had its own, had children and parents tied up in knots trying to figure out their logistics, which exam to take, not to take, students often missing out on seats in colleges because they just couldn't take the exam or go to another state and the costs involved. So yes, the answer is a centralized exam. And Akanksha, please understand, every system will have some faults, will have some lapses. The point is, currently, the NEET UG and the NTA seems to have too many holes in the bucket. There are procedural issues, there is a systemized cheating issue, there is a paper leak issue, there is a arbitrary grace marks awarded issue without it being made public. So there are multiple aspects and facets to this problem. But yes, to answer your question, a centralized exam is the way to go forward, albeit increase the number of languages that you conduct the exam in to make it more fair and equitable.
Let me quickly bring in Mahima. Mahima, there's also talk about doublespeak emanating from the Congress party, because they're also questioning how there were 20 papers leaked in Rajasthan, and in fact Rahul Gandhi was in fact seen with the accused of the paper leak. How do you respond to in fact photos that are surfacing, and they've come from both ends of the political spectrum? If there's a Samrat Chaudhary, there's also Tejashwi Yadav. Should this become now a matter of deep introspection, or just be left to the politics of it?
The act of paper leaks, Akanksha, unquestionably is condemnable. There's no doubt in that. Now, I'll tell you how it is different, and when you say it should not be made a partisan issue, I'll tell you why it becomes a partisan issue in today's scenario. Because you see, there's a Bediram, an NDA MLA in UP, who actually says, "मैं कोई भी paper leak कर सकता हूँ, मेरा कोई कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकता," on tape. It has been released by UP Tak on YouTube. People can go and watch it. So you see, there was a sting operation. This came out. There are plenty of other cases. A NEET website is hacked till 18th of June. A second window opens, and most of the applicants during that second window actually are the ones who got the grace marks. When the re-examination was conducted last Sunday, only 52% of the 1563 candidates who got the grace marks reappeared. Around 50% did not have that trust in the authority of NTA or the Education Ministry this time around.
All right. I'm running short of time. Mr. Varakan, how will
the... never been the case.
Nobody
leaks papers.
How will the BJP-led NDA take this forward to ensure that there's a more robust testing system for the students of India?
Akanksha, I totally agree with Mr. Subin Malhotra, who says that there has to be a central examination. That we all accept. Now, there are those who don't accept it. Akanksha, you must also note that, because there is a lobby of many MLAs in different states who own medical colleges. I'm saying Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra, Maharashtra. These are MLAs who have medical colleges, and what they need is capitation fees. So this is not coming through because of a centralized examination pattern. Now that lobby is funding these protests, and they see the genuine students are being disturbed because they are not being there.
All right.
Because of this
I'm running short of time. I'll have to wrap up this discussion, Mr. Varakan. But you hit the nail on its head when you use the term as far as the centralization of education is concerned. I'm sure your government will ensure that there's a tamper-proof system in place, because remember, lakhs and in fact crores of students and their future depends on it. Many thanks to you, Mr. Varakan, Mahima and Zubin for joining in on this discussion. And with that, in fact, we have some breaking inputs coming in. Let me quickly bring you those breaking inputs that's coming in on the severed finger that was found in the ice cream, remember, in Mumbai some days ago. And the DNA report of that severed finger has now revealed that the severed finger belonged to Omkar Pote, an assistant operator manager who was working at the Fortune company in Pune. And on 11th of May this year, while packing the ice cream, part of his middle finger of the right hand was cut off. The manufacturing date of the ice cream is also of the same day, and now the Mumbai police has registered a case of negligence against Fortune company. Let's quickly go across to Yesha, who's joining me on the phone line. Yesha, while you do share the details of what that DNA report states, what is the action so far taken by the Mumbai police?
So yes, now Mumbai police has registered a case of negligence against the concerned company, and which is where we see that, considering it was one of the senior manager from the company whose finger was injured, which is where after the finger was injured was where it was still kept in the ice cream. This was in fact a part of the packaging, like you've mentioned. In fact, the manufacturing of the ice cream, mentioned the same date. It was on 11th of May was when the manager of the ice cream product was injured, and which is where on the same day was when this ice cream was manufactured. Of course, there was an FIR that was registered, but now on the basis of this DNA finding is where Mumbai police has registered a complaint. In fact, they registered an FIR on the grounds of negligence, on the sections of negligence against the concerned manufacturing company as a Fortune. Now, this ice cream that we speak of, the ice cream brand, was the Yamo ice cream. It was manufactured at a third outlet. In fact, it was a third-party outlet in Pune, named Fortune, which was manufacturing it, and now a case of negligence has been registered against them, which is where cops will now take relevant action against the concerned manufacturing company.
All right, many thanks to you, Yesha, for bringing in all those latest inputs, and that brings me to the end of this edition of Brass Tacks. Many thanks to you all for watching CNN News 18. News and updates continue on the other side of a quick break.
Cricket, started playing that for fun every weekend with my job. I didn't used to train or practice or anything like that, just used to play on the weekends. In those club teams, I had a few teammates who were part of the national team at that time. So that's when I discovered about the existence of the national team. We had prepared well. Leading into the tournament, we had 2 series. We played a 5-match T20 series against Canada and we won 5-0. And we played a T20 series against Bangladesh and we won 2-1. I think that gave us a lot of confidence that the team combination was forming well and everybody was performing in their roles. I think it's made a big difference. You can see local media have caught on to it. A lot of local people had shown up for the games and they are now very interested in understanding about what the game is. It has created a big buzz actually. And it's on us now to continue that into a major league and into the bilateral series that we play from now on. Hopefully better teams will be ready to play us in bilateral series so that we get more exposure and we can try out playing in different conditions.
You owe an explanation to 23 lakh students. They're asking for a retest, saying that if the UGC NET exam was cancelled because there was evidence of some kind of compromise, then you should do the same with NEET.
Are you worried the Canadian polity and politics is veering away from the right and actually engaging itself with secessionist elements, break India elements?
The kind of space which are given now, I think it will create much more difficult scenarios for the future.
We did so when the train tragedy took place a few days back in Odisha. We did so on Morbi. We did so Balasore. We've done so even when Parliament was breached, viewers. What I'm against is whataboutery, which is politically motivated.
The question that would be in the minds of the public is, given the strength of the opposition bloc that you've pointed out to, is that going to lead to more work and possibly healthier debate, or is that going to lead to more disruptions?
Presented by.
From my side, I don't want to expect anything, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. My hand is just,
carry on.
Yeah, for me, it's just every time I enter the field, I play any match, I just want to give my best and not think about any fruits of my actions. They will happen. If I deserve, I will get. If not, whatever, I'll keep working hard. I'll keep training and enjoying the game.
Welcome back. Now, the United States team, a debutant at the T20 World Cup 2024, the one who's getting headlined is Saurabh Netravalkar. The Maharashtra-born cricketer knocked off both Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in the USA versus India game. But that's not his lone occupation. Netravalkar is one of the principal software engineers at Oracle, one of the largest software companies in the world. So we got down to understanding ये आदमी है कौन, क्या करता है, देखिए.
Saurav, first of all, hard luck for the Super 8, but the entire World Cup, you guys have been sensational. So I just want to know, how would you summarize the experience of the past few weeks?
Yeah, I think it was a very special journey for each one of us. Grateful to have got the platform, especially hosting an event of such a large scale. We had prepared really well as a team.
Hello and welcome to First Post. You're watching Vantage with me, Alison Lagrange. Is the Gaza war spreading to Lebanon? That's our top focus tonight. Israel's defense minister has issued a warning. He says Israel can take Lebanon back to the Stone Age if it wants to. How will the Hezbollah react to this? Is Lebanon ready for war?